Welcome to this presentation on the New Managers Accelerated Development Program. This information session has been put together to provide you as much information in your decision making, whether you're a new manager looking for a really good program, a business leader or HR manager looking for a structured program for your organization. My name is Isaac Pira and I'm the CEO and founder of People Performance, a learning and organizational development company, and I'm also the creator of this program. Now, I structured the presentation as such to provide a visual imagery in your head on how this program is going to look like, how is it different from the rest, as well as is it worth your investment. Now, I'd like to start with a problem statement to this. New people managers are unaware of the expectation of their new roles. They struggle with the transition into this new role from an individual contributor to a people manager. They get frustrated when employees don't seem to be able to achieve what they expect, because they would have thought, when I was an employee, I was able to do, why can't you? And when employees does things differently, they do feel that they're being taken advantage of. They do get lonely in their journey because it's a transition and not everyone understands the emotional and mental frustration that a new manager goes through. And finally, even for some of them who attended workshops, their biggest struggle is, how do I apply this back at work? Now, how do I come up with this problem statement? I've been working with leaders and managers since 2010, and over the years, the following comments keep cropping up, whether is it with business leaders or HR managers or the managers themselves. It boils down to three areas. Firstly, are the content and the learning they got relevant to their particular role, or is it just a general skills? Second, is the content delivered in a way that's easy for them to absorb and practice? And finally, to be able to translate that into workplace behaviors, not just in the workshop itself. We know in a lot of workshops, it is fun, it's exciting, a lot of interaction, and the biggest challenge is, how do you bring this back to the workplace? Now, an area which I personally feel it's an even bigger problem for new managers is the whole idea of emotional baggage, where if as a new manager they don't transition properly, especially if they are dealing with people, they will start to form very negative impression of people, and this is going to make their journeys harder in terms of building relationship, building trust, trusting people to do the right things, and this will severely hinder them as they move up in the career ladder. Let me introduce you the New Manager Accelerated Development Program. It's a transformative learning approach where the focus is on the behavioral change, not just content, but really seeing them change. So let me start with the overarching on what kind of changes are you expecting to see in this program. The program seeks to be able to provide real-world skill to achieve the following. Transition smoothly. Right? I'm not saying problem-free, but they're going to have a smoother transition from an individual contributor to a people manager. They will understand the nature of their role, they will understand the expectation of the organization, as well as to be able to align with the organization. Lead more confidently. You will start to see the level of confidence in them. They are able to lead in a way that is truly congruent with who they are as a person. And we're going to teach them how to lead authentically. They are going to be very focused on driving performance. Right? So when I talk about driving performance, it's not just about talking to the employees, but about understanding how the performance management cycle works, what are the different organizational tools they can leverage to drive performance. They're going to be able to engage their employees better, not just by looking at tools, but really understanding the personality of their employees. So we're going to use this personality profiling tool for that. They are going to be able to better develop their employees in terms of their employee skill set as well as their employees' confidence level. Because we know when an employee is confident, they are able to work much, much better. They are able to motivate their employees, and this is not just about saying good words, but really understand what truly motivates their employees. And by doing so, they are able to personalize their approach in how they drive their employees to performing. They'll be able to deal with conflict more professionally, which means they're able to have that conflict even though they may not be comfortable with it. And finally, and this is one of the more important ones, they're able to manage their bosses better. So this is what the program seeks to achieve, and I have seen this many times across the different cohorts I worked with in the past. What makes this program work? There are two aspects to this program. The first one is the content. Based on Ramcharan's material, we are looking at the transition from a managing self to managing others under the leadership pipeline framework. And the other one is the behavioral change learning journey, because we know behavioral change doesn't happen in a 2-day workshop. Now, let me go a bit deeper. So in terms of the specific skills the new manager is going to take away from this program are as such. Where do we come this? So if you are familiar with the leadership pipeline by Ramcharan, it shows a very structured way of looking at the critical skill sets needed for success. For a new people manager, it will be moving from managing self to managing others, and this, as well as dealing with the transitional issues, which is the T1 in this particular slide. In terms of a behavioral change journey, you will notice we use a blended learning approach. So we will be working with the new managers throughout their journey, not just from acquiring skills, but to applying skills. Now, it's definitely going to be fun, and it's going to be transformational, because the employees are really going to have a good time, because the activities designed it are going to be fun, engaging, but at the same time, practical, realistic, and real-world scenario. So those are the things that we're going to be doing with the new managers. Let's now look at the learning journey, right? And this is really important, especially if you are looking of what your people manager is going to go through, or you yourself might be going through. So after watching this presentation, if you have questions, shoot an email to me, or if you are comfortable enough to sign up, apply for this program. Once you have been accepted into the program, you will complete a profiling tool called a Motivational Maps profile. This particular tool is going to help you understand what truly motivates you as an individual. And you will understand what motivates you and how do you harness that motivation to keep yourself self-sustaining. And we will be using this in the first workshop, which is a 3-day, 2-night residential boot camp, where it's going to be a combination of leadership program and team bonding, because we want to bring the entire cohort together, because this is the first time you're meeting together. So there are going to be a lot of activities, but there are also going to be some real deep, serious learning. After the boot camp, there'll be an assignment for you to complete, and after the assignment, you will then turn up for a mentoring session. If you notice, the mentoring session is a virtual session, which means regardless of where you are from, you can tune in, right? So you come for a physical boot camp, and then you join us on the mentoring virtually. The mentoring sessions are basically sessions where we gauge your progress, where we'll see how you're doing on assignments, as well deal with the real business challenges, real managerial challenges you are facing. The next phase of it, you'll complete a DISC personality profile. Now, this profile is incorporated into the next workshop that focuses on developing your talent. Now, over here, you are going to understand how to work with different personalities. You're going to understand what works in some situation and what works in other situation. And we're going to walk through with you in terms of how do you apply this skill. Similarly, there'll be an assignment related to this module that you will apply back in the workplace, and you'll meet us back in the mentoring session where we will guide you and address your challenges, as well as in their situations where when you apply it didn't go well, we will address it during the mentoring session. Finally, and the third module, you will be looking at how do you drive performance? What is performance management, right? We will go into more details into that. Once again, there's another assignment for you to complete, and then attend the mentoring session. One of the things that makes this program really different is we are going to be keeping in touch with your organization, which means either your manager or the HR will be updated in terms of the content, so they will have an idea what you're going to be learning. We are going to create touch points for you to interact with them, so that they will also be able to give us feedback, to give you feedback, so you are able to align and work with your organization. This is how we achieve level 3 on Kirk Patrick. Having done all this and completing all the necessary assignment, you'll then graduate with a certificate, which is not just recognized by us, but an organization called Chartered Management Institute. This is the program schedule, and I'll leave it to you to have a look at this and then get back to us. What's important, if you're going to sign up for this program, you need to make sure you're available in all the dates. If you notice, we have done our programs on Friday, Saturdays, or Friday, Saturday, Sundays, because we recognize as a public program, your organization probably may not be able to afford for your people to be away from the work that long. So the way we have designed it is such that it creates a win-win situation, a mutual benefit, where organization gives the employees or give the new managers one day off on Friday, and Saturday is the manager's day. Let me share a bit about development tools. So there are going to be two development tools your new managers are going to experience. One is motivational maps, and the other is the DISC. And these tools are built in to accelerate their understanding of themselves and their people as they work through this program. They will receive their own personalized report. I think the best way to gauge how engaging our workshop is to attend our workshop. If not, please go over to our LinkedIn page or YouTube page to look at the different videos we have put over the years to show you how interactive, engaging, and effective our workshops are. Assignments. Now, our assignments are practical assignments. It is not an academic assignment where it's highly cognitive. It really focuses on building real skill sets, whether it is with your managers or with your employees, or to be able to keep yourself, to sustain the momentum with your employees. So the assignments are designed as such. And our assignments are pretty short, half an hour, 45 minutes, nothing too long. Now, the mentoring session, and this is done virtually. So it's going to be half-day session where we come together to be able to diagnose any of the challenges you have. We'll also be reviewing some of your assignments during this session. And the greater aspect of this mentoring session is actually learning from your peers, because you're going to be listening from other new managers, the challenges they face, and you're going to be able to support each other. So we're going to create this environment of learning and journeying together. Now, let's look at the learning content, because this is something that people do ask a lot in the past. So Isaac, what do you cover? So let's start with the first module, which is Leading Authentically Bootcamp. Now, we are having it for this run, we are having it in a place called the Monkey's Canopy Resort. It's a theme park, and we thought it's appropriate because we want to be able to create a memorable wow experience for the managers. And so we have incorporated a VR esports arena, a esports paintball, so to speak, into the program. So they're going to have fun. They're really going to bond together, because think of it, 20 people who are new to each other coming together for the first time, bonding them together is critical to create a safe space. So let's look at the module itself. The first module focuses on managing the expectation and the transition for new managers. It's going to look at developing their leadership signature, enhancing their communication, establishing their strategic alliances, and managing workplace relationship, right? Oh yes, as well as managing their bosses. In this particular workshop, we're going to focus a lot on inner development, like how understand themselves better, what triggers them as a manager, how to pace themselves so that they don't burn out. Here's the workshop outline itself. You notice we're going to talk about the current way of leading, because business is just so fast-paced. We're going to look in terms of the transition to people manager. We're going to look in terms of leading an organization, and this talks about being aligned to your organization. Then they're going to look in terms of developing their leadership signature. Now, we do know from our past experience, whenever a manager tries to mimic their bosses, it may not go so well because of their personality differences and their values. So in our program, we're going to get them to develop their own leadership style. Then we talk about developing trusting relationship, especially in organizations where relationship is important. Right? We're going to talk about how do you manage that colleague who you once were working together and now you need to manage them, or even in teams that you are just being parachuted in because the previous manager left. How do you handle a relationship, and how do you get it right from the start? We're going to look at communication, right? And when we talk about communication, about how to be more effective, what are some of the key components in effective communication? We're going to talk about visibility, and this is becoming more and more real in a very fast-paced organization, a very fast-paced environment. Sustain your leadership momentum, and this is where motivation comes in to be able to design your own approach of motivating yourself. And finally, how do you partner your line managers? So this will be covered in this 3 days, 2 nights program. The second workshop will be on leading and developing people, and we've chose to use DoubleTree by Hilton because we want to also create different environment. We also want to get them used to changes along the way, as well as increase the excitement level when you go to a new place. In terms of the learning, this particular module focuses on developing the employees by creating a psychologically safe space for the employees to work. Understand the psychology of the employee, being able to give constructive feedback, being able to delegate well. And this, I would say most of our managers are able to delegate effectively from our program. And finally, setting clear goals, right? So this is what they're going to be doing in this 2 days program. Content-wise, we're going to talk about the leadership disconnect. And this is where we talk about Danny Meyer's 4-quadrant employees' performance, because it is important to recognize while we care for the people, the focus of care is so that they're able to perform. We're going to look at developing empathy by managing expectation, and this is where we're going to talk about the science of psychology, the science of perspective. How do you be able to reframe so you're able to work better with your people? Then talking about DISC, this is where we're going to look into how do you adapt to the different personality stuff. Develop performance goal, and really we are going to not just talk about SMART, we're going to get them to develop their SMART goals. And this is going to help them to be very clear about what's expected of them. Delegate for capability building, and finally, how do you give effective development feedback? And for the third workshop, we are going to have it at another Hilton, another 5-star hotel. Once again, to really give them a good blend and exposure to the different places, right? And also just to increase the fun factor in the whole program. Now, this particular module focuses very much on driving performance. So in module 2, we talk about developing the talent, but in module 3, we're going to look in terms of how do you harness them so that they can drive the performance. Over here, they're going to explore what performance management is, what are the different tools available that they can use to help the employees improve, because not everyone improves just by conversations, right? Some people need a bit more structure in that improvement. And we're going to look in terms of how do they understand the employees better. So we talk about career conversation. We're going to talk about how do they conduct performance appraisal, and this is a really key step in driving performance. The performance appraisal has to be fair and objective and not a big surprise to the employee, right? So we're going to address a lot of this, as well as how do you manage conflict professionally. So over this module, we're going to look in terms of career conversation, how to be a facilitator in problem solving. So instead of solving the problem yourself, you are going to guide your employee on how to solve problem using very structured decision-making tools, and then how to conduct a performance appraisal, as well as how to manage conflict. So those are the things that's going to be covered in this particular program. Let's talk about the effectiveness of our program. Now, the program I'm presenting to you, it's the first of its kind in terms of a public program, but we have been doing this since 2018. Since 2018, we have been running this as an in-house program, and it has always been 6 months. But as we got more requests from smaller organizations who's not able to have an in-house program, it led us to coming up with this public program. And we are designing it in such a way that it's only 3 months. And that's why it's an accelerated program. How do we measure effectiveness? We like to keep things practical. So the way we measure effectiveness is by the feedback we get from our learners' line managers. Which means, if you are sending your new managers to us, you will be giving me feedback at the end of the program in terms of what's your observation. And I'm happy to share that more than 70% of line managers who have sent their people to us have seen improvement in their employees. Not just improvement, but here are some of the comments made. A shift in the mindset and attitude, right? Better alignment with management, communicates better. They are more professional in how they do things. They improve the way they develop their employees, as well as better cross-functional collaboration. This is what I would expect you to see by the end of the program with your new managers. Here are the clients that I've worked with and we have implemented our program. And you'll notice it is across industry. So with the focus on people manager, where we have really refined this program is to focus on the people matter as part of the new managers. So we have worked with oil and gas, pharmaceutical, insurance, gaming companies, manufacturing, even with SMEs. Here are some of the actual feedback we got from line managers after the program. You would see the shift in mindset, the ability to collaborate, the ability to go beyond just doing technical stuff, right? To be able to work better and also to be able to be more constructive. So these are the feedbacks we got from their line managers. From the learners themselves, they found it to be practical and useful. They found that it provided them with the necessary tools for them to do their jobs. I would encourage you to scan the QR code and listen to the testimonials by two of our learners. We have so many more on our YouTube, but just these two for a start, in terms of how the program has changed them and made things better for them. For this public program, we have taken a step further because we really want you to know that this program really is a world-class program. And we have gotten the international recognition from Chartered Management Institute. Chartered Management Institute is a foremost society that focuses on managers development. They are based in the UK. This is our program code and it is mapped to their framework, and upon completion of program you can actually put the title Foundation Charter Manager on your name card on your LinkedIn profile. Besides the international recognition and the ability to use a Foundation Chartered Manager's title, you also have access to their learning portal. You'll get 12-month access to learning portal. You will get a CMI membership with your own user ID, passwords to access it, and you can further upgrade them to a charter manager, which is the highest standard you can get as a manager. And if you go over to Chartered Management Institute's website, you would have seen people with this designation earns more than those without it. Because this is a public program, you're going to expand your network, you're going to connect with people from different industries, and you're going to see the world in a totally different way. You're going to understand yourself better. While this may be a new manager's program, because of the different tools we have and the conversations we have, you'll be able to understand yourself better as a person, as well as some of the things that we tend to take for granted. And finally, continuous support. Even after graduation, you'll still keep in touch with us. You'll be part of our alumni, and we're going to be able to work with you over the duration that you find us relevant to you. As this is the first time we are rolling out at an introductory price, which is 100% HRDF claimable. Now, it is very common to look at a leadership program and say, what, that's expensive. Now, if you look at what you're getting in this program, it's really, really cheap. Based on our calculation, it would have cost you 24,000 ringgit for all of what you're going to achieve. We have brought it down to 14,100 because firstly, it's something that you have not experienced, and secondly, we really want to have as many people experience our program and see the transformation, not just to see, but to experience it. My Confidence Drift program is not just about what I'm saying, but we really believe that you will see a transformation. And therefore, we are doing a money-back guarantee if you feel this program doesn't work for you, right? We will refund you if you're not satisfied within 30 days. And what do you have to lose? 1 or 2 days of leave, but you will gain significantly if you do this program. And I just can't wait to see the transformation in you as you complete this program. So, if you'd like to know more, drop me an email, connect with me, and please share this with anyone else who might benefit from this program. Because going back to what I originally said, one of the biggest struggles for new managers is if they don't transition well, they will carry the emotional baggage with them as they move on into the different managerial level. With that, thank you very much and have a good day.